And we're live. So welcome tonight, folks, to this episode of the Running Game Podcast. I'm JPeeps, that man down
I'm
there.
Ace.
That's Ace. And tonight we have a special guest with us. The person I was going to ask to help me align my fantasy lineup, Miss Alison Posey, right over here.
No, you don't want my help.
I wanted your help. You gave me a little bit of advice. You told me just, get rid of Cam Akers.
Get rid of Cam Akers.
That counts for something. And
Yeah.
I did. But now I'm like in a heavy rotation trying to find a running back.
Don't get me started with Cam Akers.
I
am mad with him.
High hopes. I had high hopes.
I am mad with him. He told me to take him over Barkley. I had a choice between Akers, Barkley, and Pittman.
Look.
And that's why fantasy is the devil.
I dropped Kenneth Walker last week for Algier, and what happened?
I'm going to say is he had a good end to last year, so I thought he was going to carry it over to this year. But what happened.
Yes.
Other than that, we got a good show for y'all tonight. Alison's going to fill us in on what we know so far about FAMU's new athletic director, Tiffany Sykes. Also going to talk about college football this weekend. 15 years of frustration has been pent up in Knoxville, and it might come to an end this weekend. So it's gonna be a good one tonight. I need to get Alison's World Series prediction too before she leaves tonight. You got this. I know you a Braves fan, wholeheartedly. So you got this. Ace, you got anything?
Be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, subscribe, and let's get this moving because we know Alison's got stuff she got to do before we go, or afterward.
Oh.
So let's not waste your time. Let's get it going.
Let's go.
And with that being said, let's go. Let's do it. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JP.
This is the Bug.
This is JC.
This is Flash.
This is Denny Hendricks.
And you're listening to
And you're listening to
the Run and Gun Podcast.
So, without further ado, let's jump right into it because we do know Alison's a busy lady and she's on a tight schedule. So, first thing that happened this week, or really just today, really yesterday, leaked Monday, is FAMU has a new AD now.
Yes.
So Alison was there at the press conference today. So, Alison, fill us in on this.
Yeah. First of all, that's why my day has been so busy. I've been at work since 8:30 this morning. Press conference started at 10, and we are still going strong. So, yeah, that's why I'm so busy. That's why I got things to do. But yeah, I mean, Tiffany Dawn Sykes, she's the new athletic director at FAMU. The announcement came down last night. I mean, rumors started swirling a couple weeks ago, I guess, that she was in the top 3. And then rumors started yesterday that she was the one. So did our due diligence. Press release came down. She, in fact, is the new athletic director. And today, Florida A&M held a press conference, and she joined us via Zoom because she's still working at her job at Dartmouth. So couldn't come down to Tallahassee. But she did appear over Zoom, and we were able to ask her questions. I mean, there were fans there. There were athletes there. It was an open mic, and she answered everything that was asked of her. Yeah, I mean, I like the hire personally. I think that, and I've spoken about it before, I think that FAMU needed somebody with, which they had with Courtney, but they needed to hire somebody with fresh blood, somebody that didn't have ties to FAMU, somebody that had new ideas, that had been in different places. I mean, she's a 2-time HBCU grad. I mean, she talked about how she grew up going to Norfolk State games with her parents. So athletics has always been in her blood. I mean, she was a college athlete herself. She's worked at PWI. She's worked at HBCUs, including Grambling State. So she's familiar with the SWAC. Again, she's at Dartmouth now. But I think it's an excellent hire. I think she brings in a ton of experience. Like I said, she's got that kind of fresh blood, those new ideas. And I'm excited to see what she can do. Again, time will tell. But the biggest thing for me with her expertise is in compliance. And as we all know, Florida A&M's biggest issue right now is compliance. And she's been dealing with compliance the better part of a decade. So for me, I think that was the intangible. We talked to Dr. Robinson today. Dr. Robinson said that was kind of the thing that set her apart. So that's what FAMU needs right now. And I think that she's going to do what they need her to do with this athletic program in the moment.
Nice. So did any of the athletes, because you said it was an open mic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did the athletes, what type of questions did the athletes ask? I'm curious.
So there were 3 athletes that asked questions. There were 2 softball players and a track and field athlete. And I will read you the exact questions because I ran a story at 6:00 and I included those questions in my story. And the track athlete asked, it had something to do with scheduling. They've had scheduling issues in the past where meets have been scheduled. They haven't gone to said meet. So the athlete asked, what we do to get everybody on the same page so that we're training for actually happen. The other 2 questions were, and I'm reading verbatim, how are you going to make sure that all athletes receive the same resource? Because as we know, some athletic programs are getting help while others aren't. Some are getting more help than others. And
she cut.
Some things never change up in that area. That area's internet's just bad. But she'll be back. Don't worry about that, guys.
Yeah, don't worry, guys.
It's just usual.
It's so I heard her saying, what's gonna happen as far as like the scheduling and as far as certain teams getting the resources that some other teams had already received. And she's right there. You got it. There we go. You're good.
I'm sorry, y'all. This is the same thing that happened to me last time. It just don't like you. That's all that it is.
I think
but the second question was, what can be done about? I said, what can we done about compliance to make sure that all athletes stay as eligible as possible?
Oh, okay. She's gonna overcome it. She's gonna be.
It's somehow like complaints about the athletes and the athletic department being on the same page in terms of scheduling and being able to make sure that they can make it there.
Yes.
And all the not like semantics, but like the details going involved and that whole process. Pretty much, I believe, is what the question was.
Yeah, I mean, which is a great question too, because I think these are things that need to be addressed. All right. Let's see. Hopefully this is it.
We got fingers crossed here.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't know what's going on. Every time I join a podcast with you guys, it just nothing wants to work right. It works fine when we're not live, but as soon as we go live,
it's working now.
Nothing wants to work.
Make sure you have it on a 720p.
Yeah, so,
lower the resolution so it uses less bandwidth, I guess.
I'm on Wi-Fi, so it really shouldn't matter. But I'm going to the front of the building. Maybe that'll help. So what I was saying, that the second question is kind of what upset me a little bit, because the athlete that asked it was like, a lot of times you hear about people not meeting compliance and it's too late. And that it really kind of hit me, because I was like, that's their career. You train, you put all this time in, and then you find out you're not compliant and it's too late, meaning you can't play that season. Maybe your career is done. That question kind of hit me. And she had a lot of she answered all their questions. Somebody in the media asked about compliance. That's the biggest thing. And she said that, she knows a lot of people within the NCAA that deal specifically with that because that's all she's done over the past decade. So she said to me too, because I asked her a question about, there are challenges. What do you expect to be the biggest challenge? And she answered that she doesn't want she wants to keep an open mind until she gets on campus. She said she has a complete open door policy. She said that to the athletes that were in attendance today, all the coaches that were in attendance, saying that if you want to schedule a meeting, she's not going to be on campus until January 4th. But if you want to schedule a meeting, she's there to meet with you. She wants to talk to the athletes. She wants to find out what the problems are. So she doesn't really want to hear about all the challenges. She wants to see them. She wants to hear about them. And then she wants to correct them, which I think is good. You don't want to come into anything with preconceived notions. We know what's going on. She's not stupid. It's national news. But she wants to hear a lot of things from the athletes themselves, which I think is good because they're the ones that are experiencing it. So like I said, I was impressed with her today. I wish she would have been there in person. I would have loved to meet her. But somebody asked her if she was going to attend homecoming, and she was like, "It's okay with Dr. Robinson. I'll be there." So she may be there for homecoming in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think she's going to be there, honestly. I remember last year I ran into Courtney Gaucher last year for homecoming. Give or take, I had chicken wings in my mouth at the time.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and honestly, it was probably the least professional way I planned to meet him. I had chicken wings and grease all over my fingers. And I was like, "Oh my God, a mouthful of chicken in my mouth." I'm like, "Do you remember me? We talked over the summer." It was horrible.
That's fantastic.
I think it was both like equally professional. I know he's laughing at me because he knows this is something I would do.
Hey, no shame in your game, right?
Exactly.
No shame. But I got one question. So throughout the entire hiring process, were there any candidates who were actually on the campus to tour it and see, okay, is this a place I can envision myself being there to be the AD, or was it all straight Zoom for every candidate?
From what I was told from a couple sources, that they did bring people on campus. They had final interviews with several people and brought them on campus. They had them on Zoom and then they had them on campus later. I think with Miss Sykes, I don't know specifically about her. I know that when she talked about it today, when she had her final interview, she was in Rome, Italy at the time. And they called and she said, they asked her if she wanted to interview for the job. And she said yes. And she said she did the interview the next morning. And she said she went straight to the Vatican, had her offering. And she's like, I figured if there was anywhere to pray, the Vatican would be the best place to do it. I thought that was kind of a neat story. But she did talk about that today. She said, I didn't just want to be an AD. I wanted to be the AD at FAMU. And this is something that she's actually wanted for a while. She talked about how 10 years ago she was with a group of colleagues and she talked about wanting to be the athletic director at Florida A&M. So this has been kind of like a dream for her for a while. And Dr. Robinson talked about that today. It's one thing to hire somebody that wants to be an athletic director, is involved with sports, but to have somebody that is passionate about where you're going and wants to be at that exact university, I think that says something else. You can compare that in a sense to Willie Simmons. He's a FAMU guy. Robert McCullum always wanted to coach basketball at Florida A&M as well, and he got the opportunity, and he's done great with the men's basketball program. So when you have people that not only want to have a job in that aspect, but they really want to be at the institution they get hired at, that says something. When you really want to be where you are, I think it's awesome that it's you speak it into existence and it happens. And that's really cool for anyone. But yeah, this is somewhere that she was open about it. She wanted to be an AD at Florida A&M, and now she is.
Nice. Yeah, I read that somewhere where she was saying that like it was like her dream to be.
Yeah, she talked about that today. She's like, I spoke it into existence, and I worked hard to make it happen, and I've made it happen. So, but I was really most impressed. I think the thing I was most impressed with is, one, the athletes that got up and spoke. Kudos to them, because that takes a lot of guts to ask big questions like that in front of a room full of people. I mean, there were a lot of people in Lee Hall today. And two, for her to answer them the way they did, and for her to have that open door policy. You know, if you want to meet with me, schedule a meeting and we'll do it. And I think that's incredible, because again, she's not even going to be here for a couple months.
Yeah, and I think it does go back to what a couple of alumni say, and I don't know how real this is, but a lot of people say, you know, you need someone that's going to stand up to the quote unquote Tallahassee mafia. I don't know who that is.
Bullies. Every fan base has them.
Okay, so basically like the big spenders at the University of Texas that can't put together a winning program.
Yeah, there you go. Or A&M. You can say that too.
Got it. Gotcha. But yeah, I think you need someone that's going to stand up to them. You also need someone that's going to, you know, have the same vision as the head coaches. And Larry needs to get his, you know, what in gear and get the same vision too.
That was going to be my question. So don't worry.
So I do like what I hear so far. So I mean, honestly, I'm rooting for her because now she's on my side, and I hope that she can take this athletic program where it needs to go. So yeah, like I said, I'm rooting for her.
Absolutely. And I will say, kind of my last thing on this, just as a female in sport, she's the second female AD and the first in like 30 years at FAMU. So I think that is really incredible. And somebody asked her today about being kind of a role model for women. I mean, she absolutely is. I mean, to be a woman in power in sport where there's not a lot of females, and I mean, kudos to her. And again, for speaking that into existence a decade ago, and she's exactly where she's wanted to be. I mean, she worked hard to get here. She busted her butt, and, you know, it paid off. So, and like I said, the compliance factor is what does it for me. The fact that she not only has been in sport for 2 decades, she has been in compliance for 10 years. And that is what FAMU's biggest issue is right now. And that is the most important thing. And she said she's seen Dr. Robinson's plan that's been presented, you know, to the board of trustees. She's reviewed that plan with him. She likes the plan, you know, as far as hiring people and who they need to get. And she said she's ready to adopt it and put it into action when she gets here.
One question from Ashton. Well, not a question, but more so a statement. So Ashton said Larry Robinson pretty much wasted the time of the 18 committee man. They all voted for Craig Angelos. Look, I don't know if that's true or not. It could be, it could not be. I will say I was one of the people that was on the Craig Angelos train.
Yeah.
I was, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, we don't have control over it. I'm happy that they.
Well, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about the inner workings of the search. I mean, I know they had the committee. I know they had the search firm to help. You know, everybody that was involved. They had some of the athletes help. We don't know who said no. We don't know what demands were made they couldn't meet. I mean, there's a lot of factors that going into hiring. And I don't know the inner workings of that. I mean, that may be true. I don't know. They may have offered it to him. He may have turned it down. I don't know the inner workings of that. But that's also another thing you have to realize, too. Just because the board says this is who we want, that doesn't mean that's who they're going to get. It's the same thing with any coaches. You may want a certain football coach, but that might not be who you get.
Exactly.
So, and again, that's just my personal opinion. I don't know the inner workings of the search. I honestly have not dug that deep into it. But there may have been things that happened that we don't know about.
Right. Because I will say he might have asked for too much. His price might have been way too much, because I think we know. But the other thing, too, before we move on to college football, is because something happened this weekend between two coaches that got into
it. Did? Wait, what?
Ace, I
What
got
are we
something.
talking about?
Yeah, wait, what?
You need to know, Ace.
I thought we already answered this. Yes, I mean, I don't even know what the beef was with Prime and Eddie Robinson Jr. Let's be real, we don't. I don't. Does anybody actually know what it was about? Because I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't like it was a blowout like how FAMU versus Jackson
it
State was.
started during the week with the smack talk. Like, you know, it's
Yes.
what started last year, really, when they popped up the picture of him with the Jerry curl going, and it started from last year, and it carried over into this week, and there was some smack talk this week, and I don't think Robinson liked it. I don't think Prime liked it, and then I know Robinson was saying that before the game, Prime wouldn't even speak to him or something. And, you know, like, girl, just play football. Like, you know, this is my thing. You know what
It's
the best
kindergarten
way?
beef.
You know what the best way to end a beef is? Win.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Jackson State got it done. So, like, there's no need to act like that at the 50-yard line. Come on now. Like,
Allison.
Hey, it's better. It's better than I'll let her answer this question first before we talk about that
I
one.
plead the fifth. I'm not getting involved with drama. Like,
I don't even get it.
Look, I'm gonna say this. I think she is SWAC because she covers a SWAC school.
I do, and I want the SWAC to succeed. I want FAMU to succeed, obviously. But this is my thing, and like this is the whole argument. Like, are you like Eddie was trying to make it or Coach Robinson was trying to make it a point that he played for a SWAC school, and he coaches, so he's more SWAC than Prime because Prime didn't play for a SWAC. Like, Coach Simmons didn't play for a SWAC school.
It's true.
There's a lot of coaches that didn't play for a SWAC school that are coaching in the SWAC. There's a lot of coaches in general that coach for their conference. Like Mike Norvell didn't coach
in the
or
ACC?
didn't play in the ACC. So is he real ACC? Like, come on now. Like, as long as you're coaching and you're winning and you're in that program, like, I get the pride of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, you talk about wanting change and doing things, nothing ever changes if you keep the same cycle going over and over and over again. So if they're coaching and they're doing good things, then let it be. Let it ride. And Coach Prime, whether you love him or you hate him, he's doing good things at Jackson State.
Exactly.
So it is what it is.
Graham Wooten, it was like Prairie View and Southern.
I guess we can blend this with the college football. Yeah, that Prairie View Southern thing. I think all those guys get suspended for like 5 games or the rest of the season.
It happened well before the game started too.
Well before the game.
They didn't even have pads on.
No.
We had Texas Highway Patrol out there with tasers getting ready to like have a standoff to get guys separated.
It's ridiculous. Again, and Southern won big. What is the best way to stop a beef? Win.
Exactly.
So Southern won, whether they won the physical fight or not, they won the fight on the football field. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Exactly. Now, the other thing too that's happening this weekend is the big one in Knoxville.
Oh yeah.
Nick Saban has never lost to Tennessee. This is the one team that absolutely has not been able to beat Nick Saban for his entire time since he got there in 2007. The last time Tennessee beat Alabama was 2006. Gas was $2.58. The minimum wage in the United States was $5.15 an hour. Blockbuster was still around. Uber didn't exist. MySpace was still very popular, and VCRs were still being sold.
There we go.
At your local Radio Shack.
That's way to make me feel old there, buddy. Appreciate you.
Look, I was still watching VHS tapes.
Yeah. Did you be kind and rewind though before you took it back to Blockbuster?
Yes, I did, and
Okay,
I was also buying PlayStation 2 video games at the time.
Well, there we go.
And Ace was in his stroller.
No, I'm not that.
Oh,
I did go to Blockbuster. I'm not that.
I was only limited to one movie and a video game.
I was never allowed to buy candy because they always up the price at the checkout line. So my parents were like, we'll rent the video and then we'll go to the gas station across the street and you can buy all the candy you want. Never allowed us to buy the candy or the popcorn at Blockbuster.
You were allowed to buy all the candy you wanted. I couldn't even do that.
No, yeah.
But
special occasions.
But yeah, do y'all think Tennessee's on upset alert? Alabama's on
upset. I would Allison go first because I can say some stuff on that game.
Okay. I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee pulled it off. I wouldn't. Tennessee's played really well. Alabama has looked suspect the last couple weeks. They've done some things. They're not as dominant nearly. They have. I mean, they really weren't last year either, but they're not nearly as dominant as they have been in the past.
Yes.
I would not be shocked if Tennessee won. I wouldn't. Momentum is in their favor. They've looked good. They're riding high after beating the brakes off of LSU.
Yes.
That game was ugly. So no, I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked.
I wouldn't either, honestly. I think if Bryce Young doesn't play,
Yeah,
Alabama's in trouble.
absolutely. I mean, they got lucky. I mean, they pulled
They
it
got-
last week, obviously, at the end of that game, but it was hairy there for a while.
It was.
A&M should have won that game. If we're being absolutely honest, there was a picture came out with Jimbo O's son getting mad with the ref about the call for not being a flag. I'm like, you should have been arguing about the play call more so than the flag being on that play for that shallow comeback. I don't even want to call it a bootleg, but not bootleg. Forget that part. But it was a short comeback onto the outside the goal line. So you're like, who will call that play when you need to get the touchdown to win the game? So on that part, yeah. So like you said, Bama has been looking sus, and I'm like, you watch Tennessee and Hendon Hooker's putting his name to be the third quarterback taken in this draft. Like that is what's going on right now, and Heisman Hooker is a very legitimate possibility. And Bryce Young, we don't know how he's gonna play or not. Jalen Milroe wasn't terrible against A&M, but he wasn't great as a freshman anyway. So you're like, okay, well, if Tennessee wins this game, there are gonna be some NFL teams where they're gonna have some locker rooms gonna be very mad with each other.
Yeah,
Because the Tennessee kids in the NFL are absolutely killing everybody else right now.
Oh yeah. There's also another team that's quietly making noise. Well, Ole Miss make it through undefeated. They play Alabama on the 12th. They got the Egg Bowl.
this is my thing. Like, if you look at, they haven't been won against Kentucky,
Yes,
but they've played Georgia Tech, who is not good,
that's true.
Tulsa,
Yeah.
and Troy. So
Yeah.
3 of their wins are against teams that
Aren't that good?
you should win.
Yeah.
So have they really been tested yet? Oh, and Vanderbilt too is another one of their wins, right?
That's right. Yeah, this past
Yeah.
weekend they beat Vandy.
Yeah.
I know where you're
So
coming
take
from.
that for what you will. Kentucky is a good win. That is a good win. I will give them that. Kentucky is a good win. I mean, I love to see it, and you follow my Instagram. I'm a dog person, and Juice Kiffin, peak Twitter. It's his dog. It's Lane Kiffin's dog. Fantastic Twitter account. He chewed up the playbook the other day, and they took a picture of him and posted it on Twitter. So if you like dogs, follow Juice Kiffin's account. But yeah, I mean, I don't know yet. I mean, they haven't played anybody yet. They haven't been tested.
We're gonna find out soon.
We
We'll find
will,
out soon.
but not yet. It's too early.
The other one is this weekend in this weekend up there by you, Allison. After playing Atlanta Falcons and losing homecoming as well in the past 2 weeks, Florida State plays Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is coming to town in prime time.
And number 5 for Clemson figured out how to play quarterback again.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is my thing with Florida State, and I've said it before, and I'm sure I've said it on here the last time y'all had me on.
Mm-hmm.
Issue is consistency. And Norvell had talked about that at length on Monday. They are not consistent to win the big games right now. They're not. They play well for a half. They put up 17 against NC State. That halftime score, I was like, all right, we're cruising.
Yeah, I thought
the rest of the game. You cannot do that against good teams and expect to win.
Exactly.
So
Green Bay.
if they want to win this weekend, and it is under the lights, primetime game on ABC 27, so be sure to tune in. Inside Doak Campbell. So the fact that it's a night game, that place is going to be rowdy. That could factor in, but they have got to play consistent. The pre-snap penalties have to stop. Balls have to be caught in the red zone.
Yes.
Field goals. And Ryan did a better job this past week. He hit that 47-yarder at the half. But field goals have to be made. The little things have to be done if they want to get the big-time wins. And that's why they didn't beat Wake, and that's why they didn't beat NC State. They should have won both of those games. Definitely last weekend. But if they want to win, which I believe if they play for 4 quarters consistently, they can get a win. But they have not done that yet against a good team. And you cannot make those mistakes against good programs.
Facts. I was in Tallahassee at the Mississippi Valley game, but I was like a few Florida State fans when I was going into the Miller's Ale House after the game and stuff. That was the most disappointed bunch of fans that I've ever
absolutely.
seen.
We all were, because we thought for sure that they were going to be 5-0 that day. I walked into Doak when they played Wake Forest that Saturday, and I was like, it's a good day to stay undefeated. And it did not happen.
There's people like in the street just like talking trash and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm expecting this to go down. And it just didn't. But I will say one more thing because I know Allison's got to go. This is the other one. When will we see FAMU play a complete game? Because I don't know if you saw the game Saturday. That was the most – and part of it is, sorry, MEAC officials – but
yeah,
letting South Carolina stay back in that game like that when it should have been a blowout, that was inexcusable. I don't know what was in the water this week and last week in Tallahassee, but both teams
not knowing how to play a complete game, that was what was in the water. Yeah, exactly. I mean, no. So on Saturday, I had gone to Valdosta to shoot the Valdosta State game, and when I left, they were up 20-0.
Yeah. When
I looked at the score again, I was like, what happened? But Willie talked about that. So we talked at length about it on Monday. They've got to establish a run game. That's killing them right now. And he talked about that because it puts stress on Jeremy. Because if you don't have a run game, you have to throw it more. And that puts pressure on him that he doesn't need. So you have to establish a run game. The offensive line, again, some of it's inexperience, and they have experienced guys like Jalen Gosh transferred from Florida State, but he had never really played up until this year. So you have older guys, but with not a lot of game experience. So you have youth, like physically young, and then you have not a lot of game experience young. So the offensive line has some bugs to work out. But that also goes into picking up that run game. They've got to create gaps for these running backs to run. But
exactly.
and Willie likes a balanced offense. He wants it equal run, equal pass. And right now it's not that. And he talked about that. And that's kind of the biggest thing that this team has to do if they want to see success. Play complete, but really they've got to establish that run game.
Couldn't agree more. You are putting facts right now. I agree because I looked at it. I mean, you got the former CCC offensive lineman TJ Demis as a true freshman out there playing center.
Yeah.
And that part of it I thought to myself, I'm like, outside of the quarterback, the center's calling shots too under.
Absolutely.
About blocking assignments and everything. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, he's probably out there making freshman mistakes. We just can't hear him because he's not mic'd up and we don't hear about this stuff. And plus, Coach Simmons doesn't want to throw certain players under the bus and stuff. And these aren't pros.
Ron Rivera can learn something from that.
But I mean, you have these are college kids. They're not NFL players, so you can't quote unquote throw them under the bus or do like what Tom Brady and Todd Bowles say about young tight ends and say, "Oh, he's a willing blocker," which not a good thing if you're a willing blocker. But I understand it's growing pains. Hopefully by the end of the season, and hopefully by the time the Southern game rolls around, if those players are suspended from Southern and Prairie View, give you a
Yeah.
chance to kind of look out the kinks even more and have a better chance. But hopefully, I mean, you mature as the season goes along. But
You do, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. But I think once they establish a run game, I think that'll open up the offense a little bit more. It'll
yeah.
also, Jeremy won't, in theory, you would hope, he wouldn't throw the interceptions. He wouldn't be rushed. It eases your quarterback's mind a little bit when you know you have that kind of other facet to the offense that's working.
Right.
I mean, it's huge. So, you'd like to think halfway through the season we'd have this figured out, but there are, again, and some of that falls on the offensive line. Being young, they had a very experienced offensive line last year, so that made a huge difference. That makes a huge difference, and that's been Florida State's problem the last decade. So,
well, Rick Trickett as well. But
yeah. Well, another story for another day. But yeah, I mean, it's a big factor. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think we'll see what happens. They should get a win this weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm expecting it too. Also, too, by the way, well, two things before Allison goes. One, if you have not bought a parking pass for the Florida Classic yet, you may want to go get one because they're filling up. I don't know for Allison Media Lot. I don't know how that works, but
I don't even have the link yet. So
dude,
that's good to know because it's not a set media lot. Don't make me freak out yet. There's a thing with the Florida Classic. I have never been on time to the Florida Classic in my entire life. I have gone every single year since I got to Tallahassee in 2015, and I have never been on time. No matter what time I leave Tallahassee, I am still late.
You just leave at 5 a.m.
Listen. I'm from Gainesville. My parents live in Gainesville still. I have even driven to Gainesville that Friday night, so I only have like a 2-hour drive. Doesn't make a difference. I get there about mid-second quarter every single year. I can't do it.
I'm gonna put my money on it. Allison's gonna be on time this year.
I speak it into existence because
get yourself a hotel room. Go to the Battle of the Bands Friday night, and then you're already in Orlando.
Yeah, but see, you're forgetting about high
Go
school.
watch. I don't know what day's Florida Classic this year.
It's November 19th.
Yeah.
I don't even know the game.
Everything's on the 19th this year. What the hell? I have a bunch of stuff on the 19th.
I keep hearing really
yeah.
Somebody else's.
I would have said if you wanted, you could have went to Orlando, catch Apollo play on Friday night, and then go to the Florida Classic on Saturday. But they have the Magic out. I assume they scheduled that on purpose to clear out Orlando.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I got high school
road trip.
Y'all forget about this.
That's true. I forget. And plus, that's playoff time. I got a question here from Ashton. I keep hearing Willie Simmons doesn't like blowouts. Not my words, or someone else's. I've answered this before. I mean, what I've said before in the past is he blew out NC Central, he blew out Morgan State, he blew out Howard a couple times, and then he's also blown out Fort Valley. I think that, I mean, and some people call it blowout, some people call it running your offense. I don't think that he's opposed to not liking blowouts, but I mean, Allison might know more than we do.
A win's a win and a loss is a loss. So
if it's a 1 point,
if it's a 1 point or if it's a 40 point, I mean, it's a win's a win and a loss is a loss. It don't matter. It all goes down in the book as the same thing.
Now, one more thing, because we know Allison's got to go. World Series prediction.
Can I just make what my heart wants?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Braves, Mariners.
Wow.
I would have said Braves, Dodgers, but I think pretty soon might mentally crash if that happens.
I don't want to deal with
Braves, Dodgers they're both the National League ace.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Apologies.
Moment, no offense.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot they're not in the AL.
Mariners, just because it's been 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so cool.
The NLCS. Here you go.
I think it's so. I don't want to deal with the tears with Dodgers Braves because it's going to be like a repeat when they played in Atlanta, and I just don't want to deal with it. But in the World Series, Mariners Braves.
Oh, she's going in NLCS and ALCS now. Oh,
No, I'm not.
oh.
Just
She
that's
thought
what my heart wants. I was gonna say
All
how
right.
many games I think, but we're not there yet. That's
okay.
just what my heart wants.
I can respect that.
That's
I
what
feel
my heart wants.
I want Mariners Padres, but that ain't happening.
I had more faith in the Mets than I did the Padres, but wow.
So who do you have?
For me, at first, my heart said deep down, I really want to see a Braves versus Rays World Series, but then that got blown to bits
I was about
again.
to say that's not an option anymore. So
If you'd asked me that a week ago, I'd have been like, yeah, that's what I want. But now I would say, I'm gonna go with the Braves and the Yankees. Actually, no.
I don't even want the Yankees in for an option.
Yeah, see, it's me neither. But I just feel like for some reason they're gonna try to get the Yankees in there because the Yankees. This is like the longest
The
drought
Yankees are the
have
Yankees,
ever had.
yes.
And then like
And I don't want. See, I need Seattle to beat Houston just because the
nobody
likes
been
the
there, done
Astros.
that. No.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need some garbage cans to make that happen.
Yeah.
So
So who?
go ahead.
No,
Allison.
we're not gonna do ALCS and LCS. I just for the whole shebang. Braves, Mariners. So that means the Astros have
Who would
to
win?
lose.
But who would win that World Series?
We're not going there yet. Not yet.
We're
Okay.
not speaking it into existence. We already partied like it was
one thing at a time.
we already partied like it was 1995 once. We got to wait to do it again.
Yes, but hopefully the Guardians beat the Yankees, and then the Mariners beat the Guardians. That'll be your American League, and then Dodgers will beat the Padres,
Of course.
and then the Braves obviously have to beat the Phillies.
But then you'd still get the Braves, Dodgers, and
No, we get the Braves, Mariners for the World Series.
No, I know, but I'm saying you'll still have the NLCS.
Yeah,
being...
you will, and I don't want that.
So you got to get the Padres to win. So it'll be Padres, Braves.
So we'll have Braves, Padres in the NLCS. I can live with that. We can live with that as long as it's Mariners, Braves.
Doesn't matter how we get there. As long
Doesn't
as
matter how we get there.
As long as we get there.
As long as we get there.
Exactly. She's speaking it into existence.
Speaking it into existence.
And when it happens, we're going to cut this up and we're going to post it for the world to see.
There we are. I called it. Braves, Mariners. And we'll give a game prediction later. Who wins and how many? But they got to get there first.
There we go. Baby steps. We're going to get
baby steps.
We got block 1 out the way now. So we're going to wait to get block 2. And then soon we're going to get block 3. And
yes.
It's going to all work itself out.
Yes.
This was awesome. Allison, we want to thank you so much for joining us. As you know, you're always welcome to come back and join us.
Yeah,
as well.
yes.
I know we went a little bit over time with you.
Not yet. 13 minutes I can deal with. Now I know where I need to sit to have my phone work. It's like every Wednesday you ask to have me on, something crazy happens. So, last Wednesday, I forget what happened. This Wednesday, it's the new AD. So hopefully every time you ask me to be on, some breaking crazy news happens. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But
I mean, hey, it's a good thing.
It keeps me employed, so we got that going.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'll be on soon.
Allison will come back when it's Braves, Mariners.
Yes, I was about to say that's a good time. So give me a couple weeks, and then we'll be on when it's Braves, Mariners, and then we can talk World Series.
Exactly. Like I said, we're gonna speak this into existence.
Speak it into existence.
Exactly. But thank you so much, Allison. Before you go, let the folks know where they can find you at.
Yes, Twitter, Instagram, same handle. It's Alison Posey 14, 1 L to Allison, ALISON POSEY 14. So Twitter, Instagram, all the shenanigans of my life on those 2 channels. So tune in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison. If I see you in Tallahassee, I promise you I will not have chicken wings or fried fish in my hands.
Hey, as long as you share them, we're good.
I got you.
Just don't do that when you meet Miss Tiffany.
Yeah,
Or Miss
just don't,
Side.
yeah.
I
just
can't
don't
make
do
any
that.
promises for that, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. These
Hey,
things
he's gotta eat. A man's gotta eat.
Exactly. At the 3.5 hour road trip, I got to eat
He's
something when I
hungry.
get out my vehicle.
I'd be hungry
Like,
too.
plus, I'm sitting there, I'm all crunched up in the truck. Like, I got to eat something, man. But also, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We
Thank you
appreciate it.
guys. I'll see y'all
Of
soon.
course. Of course.
Bye.
Take care. Oh,
All right, let's have this NFL talk. All right, where do you want to start?
where do we want to start? Oh my goodness, the questionable calls that we talk about.
They said they're not changing that. The
Oh.
NFL said they're not going to be changing the pass interference. Not pass interference. Well, they already said they won't change pass interference. They won't change roughing the passer either.
It's going to get criticism. I understand there's massive paranoia right now because of the Tua thing. So, I mean, I kind of felt like it was coming. And I think even in the college level, you can see it coming. In the high school level, I'm not too sure because those guys don't have instant replay and stuff. They can just go based on instinct. But I don't see this going away anytime soon, honestly. But I will say, I'm very the NFC East. This matchup on Sunday Night Football this week is going to be pretty interesting. Cowboys against the undefeated Eagles. It's going to be really interesting. Cooper Rush has not lost a game yet, and
Who
Dallas
the hell
has
is Jake
2
Funk?
total. Say again.
Who the hell is Jake Funk? Some
Yeah.
running back from the Rams that signed to the Saints practice squad. I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea.
I've never heard of that person before.
Regardless of who wins and who loses, Cooper Rush has been very impressive. And if Cooper Rush wins this weekend, when Dak returns, should the Cowboys go away from Cooper Rush?
Mm-hmm. That's not even a question. Cooper Rush is not the reason they've been winning. He's the reason they're not losing.
That's true too.
Because you watch it. I mean, he's just taking a safe route. It's the game plan is essentially all right. Hand the ball off to Zeke or Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not it, you just find CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup. Those last 2 weeks. Mainly, it's all right. Where's Noah Brown? Where's CeeDee Lamb? Throw it to one of them in a prayer shot.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, it's reminiscent. Sorry, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of reminiscent. You saw when Teddy went 5-0 with the Saints in 2019. It was you hand the ball off to Ingram and Kamara. I don't even know if Ingram was there. I think he actually already left. I think it was Murray and Kamara. Or throw the ball to Michael Thomas and let the defense carry. Because the defense for the Cowboys has been carrying. And somebody will pay Cooper Rush in the offseason being fooled by this. And it'll turn into the Teddy Bridgewater contract in Carolina. And then you'll just have another Matt Rule situation again.
And speaking, oh man, that's one thing we didn't hit on. I'm gonna hit on that in Hot Topics though. Speaking of Carolina,
okay, so this can go either 2 ways. A, they hire a head coach and they draft CJ Stroud number 2. Assuming Bryce Young goes 1, right?
well, you got to remember they also have. Oh my gosh, what's that boy's name?
Oh, Matt Corral, yeah. So they probably will ride with Corral if the coach, whoever they hire, is okay with Corral.
Yeah,
Which not a given. B, you give up the entire farm for Sean Payton, which includes whatever pick you have in top 5. Because I don't think New Orleans cannot do a deal for Sean Payton to Carolina if it doesn't include that pick for this year.
of course.
Or, 2023 draft. You know what I mean. This season's draft. You can't do a deal for that. So it's either A, you take a quarterback top 10 with whoever the new coach wants, or B, you ride Corral or Baker next year. I don't think they pay Baker, so it's the answer to this question would still be no either way.
Mm-hmm.
And Corral goes with them. Or C, you hire, I don't know, you could probably Lincoln Riley maybe. I doubt that. And you go get a guy who is comfortable with Baker, and you give Baker a 1-year prove-it deal again, and you go after Caleb Williams in 24. Those are your 3 existing realistic options.
This is a franchise.
And A is probably the more realistic of them all.
this franchise has gone from dominating like the mid to late 2010s to just, they're now in a bind.
That franchise went off the cliff the day Ted Ginn caught an 80-yard touchdown to start the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that was 2017. That was the last day Carolina was relevant.
I agree, because it was
And that was Christian McCaffrey's first year.
And he can't stay healthy, but I have my own opinions about that, quite honestly. But yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And then you also have this thing going on in Pittsburgh, man. That's pitiful.
Okay, what Pittsburgh's going on that is just wrong, I said I was gonna look it up and I didn't, and I need to go do that. What year Tomlin got hired? I want to say it was like 07.
He was
because he took right after Cowherd did.
Yeah, he came in right after Bill Cowher, and then Bill Cowher came in right after not Chuck Leo, but Chuck Noll. He came in right
2007, January 2007. He got hired.
And 2 years later, he was in a Super Bowl, winning.
15 years. Man coached your team in 15 years. Never had a losing season. He's going to have one rebuilding year, and y'all want to move on from him.
Folks don't appreciate things nowadays. Folks want sustained success, and Steelers have been spoiled for so long with playoff berth after playoff berth after playoff berth, and winning 6 Super Bowls, and then the whole steel curtain in the 70s. They have been so babied by that they're not pleased by this. Now, maybe next year, and I think honestly they're going through a little bit of what Baltimore went through last year with injuries. So I think next year they could probably be something. But
Pittsburgh, you know what Pittsburgh really needs to do? I'm not a GM, but you know what they need to do? They need to pick every single player that they take needs to either be a corner or an offensive lineman.
I agree. You're absolutely right. I agree.
That is the only 2 options you have if you're Pittsburgh. You cannot draft another skill position player again.
They have that in they have.
I mean, they hit on their skilled players. Don't get me wrong. It's just you need an offensive line right now because Najee's getting like 1.9 yards per carry, if I'm not mistaken, and he's looking bad right now. Everybody's calling him the Trent Richardson, but the man has nowhere to run right now. Exactly. And he's also doing the Liz Frank, so he's not having the pop that he normally has.
Exactly. Which, honestly, at some point, probably
they're going to shut him down.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. If he has Liz Frank, you got to shut him down at some point. I wouldn't realistically. I'd shut him down now because I think this season's already lost. But I think for helping to protect and helping, not expose Kenny Pickett so much, they're going to keep him going and stuff. But I think at some point later in the season,
save him for a real year when they actually need him.
Exactly.
Don't waste his body now.
Once they secure that top 10 draft pick, then that's when they'll shut him down and just be like, all right, you're done for the year. Get healthy, come back next season. Kenny Pickett, show us what you can do. Go through your learning pain, go through your growing pains now. Hopefully we don't see a sophomore slump. We'll see you in 2023. But I mean, you're right though. They need to address the offensive line. Pittsburgh's, when they were dominant, they had excellent offensive line play. That last Super Bowl they won, they had excellent cornerback play. And they need that type of guy. They don't have that it guy outside of Minka. They have Minka, that's good, but they don't have that.
That's how the draft will go.
Say again?
If it's Pittsburgh, I will tell you how the draft goes if Pittsburgh has the top 3 pick. Top 3, it will go Will Anderson for them in the first round to go next to TJ, which will just be a wrecking crew. Rest in peace, Lamar and Joe Burrow. And then second round, probably a corner, and then they won't address the offensive line until the 3rd round, which won't pan out. And then they'll have the same issues again with the offensive line.
I will say there are some diamonds in the rough that you can find in the 3rd round.
Don't get me wrong, there is good offensive linemen in the 3rd round. It's just Pittsburgh's drafting and developing of offensive linemen haven't been great.
That's very true too, because starting to realize
the situation they're in right now.
Starting to realize the old guard in most places does not develop talent as well as it used to. In most of the legendary places, and Pittsburgh is one of them. But one other thing, well, I guess we could move it on over to hot topics. I'm trying to remember what I had to say about it. I'm trying to remember. Ace, charge my memory.
On what?
What I had to say. I'm trying to
I
think.
don't know.
Oh, okay. Here it is. Hot topics. I'm actually glad that you did that. And I should have asked Allison this.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a better college coach, kind of like what you're seeing with Chip Kelly and UCLA right now.
Mm-hmm.
It might take a year or two, but then you'll see the results.
I agree. Yeah,
Same with Temple and Baylor. You had a rough first year, and then it goes.
The interesting thing about it is to see what did UCLA give Chip Kelly?
A bag.
Well, they gave him a bag, of course, but they gave him time. When a lot of people all over the country said, "Why are they doing this? Cut your losses, get rid of him." They gave him time, and look what's happened. They are a one-loss team, and they are looking really good. The Battle of Los Angeles is looking very promising. That game may well decide the Pac-12, what, North or South representative for the Pac-12 championship, and then possibly a representative for the Rose Bowl. One of those two teams could well enough end up in the Rose Bowl New Year's Day. And then on top of that, you look at the Matt Rule situation. He could come into Nebraska and save them. His offense was very deadly at Baylor. You bring that Big 12 offense to the Big 10, your main competition at the moment as it stands right now is Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State. And maybe Illinois, because Illinois looks pretty good under Brett Bielema. They're a one-loss team, and so does Minnesota, but I think you could beat both of those two teams. But the big three that I just named, those are your biggest competitions. And Nebraska for years has been looking for that type of big play offense that could be explosive, because that offense has not been explosive since Jesus. Gosh, well, I'm losing my train of thought. What's his name? Oh my gosh, he should have won a Heisman. He had blood clots in his leg. We're number 15 for Nebraska.
Mm.
Oh my, you know this. I'm drawing a blank here. Someone needs to charge my memory.
What year?
1995, number 15.
1995 Nebraska quarterback. Let's see.
Yeah, charge my memory. I'm losing it right now. Tom Osborne was the head coach.
Tommy Fraser?
Yeah, Tommy Frazier. I knew it was T. I knew something with the T. I knew it was Tommy something. But yeah, Tommy Frazier. And guys, like, you haven't had a high-scoring offense since those days. You got to get an offense that can run that type of scheme again, that can revive your offense and revive your entire team. Matt Rule has the mindset to do it, that could bring Nebraska back. But everybody has to buy in, all hands on deck.
Now, what Nebraska needs to do is they need to go start recruiting out of Kansas and Nebraska, those farmer boys that used to running on the open plains where you found guys like Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, no, you got to recruit there. Get your off those guys.
You need to recruit from the state you're in, because there's some good players coming out of every state. Exactly. And the problem with that is those guys are going to the big schools instead of the local schools, because the local schools aren't looking that way. They're looking for old, washed-up guys from other schools that aren't working. Cough, team in Tampa. Not saying any names.
Why you do that to them?
What?
Yeah, you didn't have to do that.
That's their homecoming week. I could trash them.
You know what? You're right, because they're gonna lose homecoming too.
Exactly. I'm not wasting my time.
Exactly.
Thank God no one from USF has found this podcast yet.
Oh, don't worry. They found some people from USF have found this page, and they said USF is going to be back by 2025. USF is going to be good in 2032.
Yeah, I'll be God, how old would I be in 2032? Shit, I'll be almost 30.
I mean, 20. Look, the world may not even be around by 2032.
Exactly.
So, I hope this message doesn't come back to haunt us in 2032. But because this could be like the prelude to like one of those like horror films or something, since we are in the month of October. Me saying that could be like the prelude to like a serious like Contagion movie or something.
No, we're not doing this. All right, moving on.
Oh my
God.
Moving
on. We're not doing another Contagion. I hate that movie so much.
Oh my gosh. 28 days later. We're doing that.
We are totally not doing that. All right.
We'll
Where were we?
topics next week. Favorite horror film?
No, I don't do that kind of thing. No.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is week 6, correct?
Of which NFL? Yes.
All right. So I got some stardom and sit 'em for you.
All right.
So as far as stardom sit 'em goes for the quarterbacks this week goes, start Kyler Murray against the Seahawks defense. Start
Yep.
Kirk Cousins against the Dolphins defense. Start Geno Smith against the Cardinals defense. Start Daniel Jones against the Ravens defense. Wow. Oh boy.
Man, I miss when you used to ask me who to start and sit because I used to actually be good at that.
As far as sitting them,
Now
sit
I'm washed.
Stafford against the Panthers defense.
Man, sit Matthew Stafford for the rest of the season. Forget his.
Sit
Drop
Russell
him.
Wilson. Really, I don't even know.
Drop
why you-
him.
I don't
Drop them both.
Drop Russell Wilson. They said sit Russell Wilson against the Chargers defense. Really, I think you should just go ahead and drop Russell Wilson. He's given up. Sit Trevor Lawrence against the Colts defense. Sit Mariota against the 49ers defense. That's 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
Mariota.
I would have dropped Mariota too because Desmond Ritter coming soon.
Oh yeah, sooner or later he's gonna get his shot.
4 weeks. Same with Tannehill, but Titans have been winning. So
As far as running backs go, Ramondre Stevenson, start him against
start.
Kenneth
Except
Walker.
unless Pierce Strong steals half his snaps, which is a very likely possibility.
True.
Knowing New England, New England never uses a straight bell cow.
Oh yeah, never. No, he never. And Bill Belichick, that's not in his ways.
Nope.
Kenneth Walker the third, start him against the
Pain.
Colts
That's
defense.
just pain right there.
I don't know why this is even here. Melvin Lando Lakes Butterhands Gordon, start him against the Chargers. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because they couldn't stop Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt with the whole dam running up in their defensive line.
Devin Singletary, who literally is very inconsistent, start him Sunday against the Chiefs defense.
If you had other options, I would look at it. But
Here's another.
I mean, it depends on what Chiefs defense shows up. Is it the Chiefs defense that played Tampa or the Chiefs defense that played Vegas?
Raiders. If it's the Chiefs defense that played the Raiders, I'd say definitely start Devin Singletary. But in my thing too, here's my dilemma with Devin Singletary. Does he do enough? Does he get enough of the reps in the game? Because Zachary Moss gets his reps, and then Josh Allen loves to sling the pill all over the place. So where does that leave Devin Singletary? That's my dilemma with this. Now, as far as sitting him goes, they say sit Najee Harris against the Bucs defense.
Man, Najee Harris is almost droppable.
Yeah.
As hard as that may be to sound, he is borderline. You got to stick. He is entering Cam Akers territory, where you might want to sit him on the bench and hope the rust stretch goes past, which is the next month, and hopefully come fantasy playoffs where the schedule is easy, you hope he breaks out. Which in that case, if you have a deep enough bench, you could bench him. But if you need another position, it's completely fine cutting Najee Harris at this point. Because his next couple of games are brutal.
Facts.
Poor Flash.
The other one to sit, and I think you should also let him go and put Tony Pollard in. I think the Cowboys need to do that too, personally.
Oh, no. Tony Pollard is terrible in pass protection. And playing Philadelphia, you are going to see a lot of Zeke because they're going to have to throw the ball. And Tony Pollard cannot pass protect for his life. And that Philadelphia pass rush will end Cooper Rush.
They've been saying to sit Zeke this week against the Eagles defense.
Okay, running the ball for like fantasy purposes, yes, you sit Ezekiel. But in real football, you are going to see him play almost 75% of the snaps this week.
Facts. They're also saying sit A.J. Dillon against the Jets defense.
A.J. Dillon won't be relevant until week 13, the week before the bye week, when it gets cold. Okay, so like, for example, Najee's next couple of games, right? Got the Bucks, got the Dolphins, who just got gashed by Breece Hall. So, fair enough. Then you got Philadelphia, the bye week. Then you got New Orleans, Cincinnati, both of whom just shut down the running backs beside Kenneth Walker's long touchdown. Indianapolis is good. But then it gets easy. You got Atlanta, Baltimore, Carolina, Vegas, Baltimore, Cleveland, which is where you would hope Najee wakes up. And if he doesn't get shut down, which is why people are saying pick up Jalen Warren, because he will essentially become Austin Eckler. Well, mini Austin Eckler. You just got to hope he holds on to the ball. But it's the same kind of thing with Cam Akers, if I can find his start behind. Right, so it's either Cam Akers, or if your bench is pretty set and you got a free roster spot, pick up Kyron Williams, because he will be probably starting by the time the schedule gets easy, where it's Kansas City, Seattle, Vegas, Green Bay, Denver, which is a tougher one, then LA, the Chargers, and Seattle. Like, once you get to week 10 with Cam Akers' schedule gets easy. Once you play New Orleans. So it's week 11, right? But then that last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, 7 games is where you cross your fingers, pray to God, hope Cam Akers shows back his value. Or, like, kind of like how David Montgomery did a couple of years back. Or Kyron Williams is the guy, he takes over that backfield, because Darrell Henderson isn't good either.
Very true.
It is Kyron Williams takes over when he comes back from his high ankle sprain, which possibly not, you don't know. Or Cam Akers shows back into 2024, which is a long shot at this point.
Yeah, I won't wait.
Because he'd have 3 good runs, and then his offensive line is so bad, he'd get blown up for 3 yards, negative 5 yards, next 3 carries. Or he misses a wide open cutback where he could have like an 80-yard touchdown and gets stopped 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage instead of the cutback.
You're right. Now, one last group of guys are wide receivers as far as start them or sit them. So I'm going to just run these off. Start Chris Godwin against the Steelers defense. Start Gabe Davis against the Chiefs defense. Start Tyler Lockett against the Cardinals defense.
Duffy's back.
Start George Pickens against the Bucs defense.
Bucs secondary is garbage.
Sit Juju Smith-Schuster against the Bills defense.
Juju's garbage.
Sit Drake London against the 49ers defense.
No, don't do that.
Sit Garrett Wilson against the Packers defense.
Do that.
Sit DJ Moore against the Rams defense.
Nah, cut DJ Moore. You cannot have DJ Moore on your fantasy team until he gets traded.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Albeit the trade deadline is in 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks.
Facts. Well, with that, I guess that's going to do it. We already addressed baseball tonight with Allison.
The Padres lost game 1. Mariners blew it the last inning.
I'm still going to stick to my guns with it. I mean, I'm sticking with the Braves versus Yankees World Series.
I'm fine with it. Because if I pick the one where Allison does, which I prefer, I'd pretty much expect it to be where how do you say this? You jinx it? I jinx things, like, yeah. Sure. On that note, the Canadians don't look completely pathetic unless the Maple Leafs just look pathetic right now. I don't know which one that is. The number 1 pick is only played how many minutes? He hasn't done much of anything. He's only got 8 minutes so far. So he's been on the 3rd line, it looks like.
Well, with that, folks, also, too, remember our FAMU versus Grambling State breakdown is Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. because game time is at kickoffs at 3 o'clock, so we'll be live at 2, kicking off at 3. So for all your needs and stuff, and always remember, this guy right here, he is swag. Ace, tell him, Ace, you wake up motivated.
Yeah.
Tell him, Ace.
Completely. I'm just messing. Yeah, I'm waked up motivated.
Exactly. He wakes up with his gold chain around his neck, and he wakes up motivated, ready to bless somebody every day. Isn't that right, Ace?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out why my hockey fantasy team is not giving me points for Cole Caulfield getting 2 goals until I realized that the season apparently doesn't start for hockey fantasy for this week for some reason until next week.
See, while you're doing that, you need to tell him why you are swag. Tell
The
him
mentality, man. It's all about the mentality. Gotta have that drive.
I'm cutting this and I'm going to record this. I hope you know. That's why you're swag. Don't even give me that look. That's why he's.
I'm doing the puppy face.
Don't. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna.
I'm just messing. But anyway, guys, yeah, thank you for joining us for another night. Thank you to Allison for joining us. Last Gift podcast next week, Tuesday, 8. Don't know if we got anything big planned. I mean, it's just gonna be recap, previews. You know, I said I was supposed to cut the video up today, and I forgot. Dang it!
I forgot to remind you. I had a lot of stuff on my table today. I will say.
Me too. I got a lot of work to finish up. I'm trying to have a free weekend this week. Not gonna happen at this
remind
rate.
you tomorrow, though. I got you.
I got to go to class tomorrow, sadly. We shall see how it works out. But yes, we're getting off topic. Thank you everyone for watching. If you're on Twitter, go over to hit the avatar picture on the Penalty Talk channel. Hit the bio link. Come over to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Or watch the video, drop a like, and just help grow the channel that way. So we can do a better job bringing the stuff out. And other than that, be a friend, tell a friend. Thanks for everything, guys. Stay safe, stay blessed. See you next week.
Yes, sir.